Alright, it's the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and obviously it was a big attack on the free world. So I thought I would use this as an opportunity to talk about how liberating it has been ever since I started intermittent fasting and taking some control of my eating habits. Now, lately, or actually not just lately, but over the last year and a half, I have found that it is a lot more liberating when I have an event that might last a couple of hours, maybe a little bit longer, where I can't bring outside food, or it's not going to be available, or whatever issue, I could just hop on board, right? Used to be a big challenge if I had to go to a theme park or a movie, some kind of event where I can't easily just munch on food, right? Maybe go to a conference, go to some kind of formal event, right? Like a courtroom, right? I had a traffic ticket I had to fight one time. Obviously, you can't go in there and munch on food, right? It might be a 1 hour, 2 hour session. And I find all those activities to be a whole lot more tolerable when my eating habits were under control. And I find that travel just feels a whole lot better, right? Right now I'm living in Phoenix, Arizona. I began the pandemic in Seattle, Washington, obviously. I work remotely. Oh, speaking of remote work, I just had a conference for the Computer Olympia. I think it was held in Seoul, South Korea. A lot of Zoom calls. Obviously not very professional to be munching away in front of the screen. Some of those lasted multiple hours. They were all at very odd hours of the day, obviously, for me. And I just find that all those activities flow a whole lot better when you're not bogged down by food cravings or thinking about food or all that. And everything just flows a whole lot easier. I don't worry about the logistics of food nearly as much anymore. So I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been thinking about relocating again at some point. Unfortunately, I had a bad experience at my apartment. So I have some roommates who decide to steal silverware of all things, right? And I have to keep my silverware in my room to keep it from being stolen. It just gives a bad vibe, right? Can't even keep toilet paper in the bathroom. Just gives a very bad vibe. And I know there's out of all the benefits of living here. I mean, I really love the location. The place doesn't give me allergy problems, right? I've been to other places that use a lot of air fresheners. Could be a whole lot worse. But just not being able to keep toilet paper at the toilet is just really frustrating to me. I have autism, so that might be it. I don't like to feel excluded. I like to feel I actually have a home to live in, right? It feels like a shelter situation if you have to take your toilet paper with you. Anyway, so I was looking at other places to live. I thought about Las Vegas. I thought about Amarillo, Texas. Both of those are about a 5-hour drive away. It didn't bother me how I'm going to eat during that drive, right? That would have been a big bottleneck in the past, right? And that just slides right away right now. And that's what I meant by freedom. There's another form of freedom, the financial freedom aspect issue of it. Now, I first noticed the financial impact quite by mistake, actually. It wasn't on the top of my list because in early 2020 when I made my resolution to normalize my relationship in early 2020. I wasn't having financial problems. Very few people were having financial problems at the time, right? I get my credit card bill in the middle of the month, and it was middle of March 2020. I opened the credit card bill. You got to remember, before the pandemic, I used to live out of my car for most of the year. I mean, I would move somewhere in the wintertime, but I was living out of my car. I go to my P.O. box to pick up my credit card statement, and I open it up, and there's a big shock. I spent so much less on food. I'll never forget that feeling, standing outside of that post office, or actually it's a Pony Express, opening that credit card bill and just standing there and smiling. I wish I had a video of myself doing that. I really do. It's a very big memorable moment. It's become even more memorable because it was one of the last moments when we had some normalcy in our lives, right? A couple days later, we got to stay 6 feet apart, quarantine and all that. And everybody was waiting for their stimulus. I remember thinking I already gave myself a stimulus because I was getting ready to pay $300, $400, $500 on that credit card for all the food that I had consumed that month, and instead I pay something like $150 or something like that, if I remember correctly. I wish I had kept that bill. And anyway, but lately, aside from that one time when I got the stimulus, lately I've been having a lot less worry about where food money is going to come from, right? I have a whole lot more flexibility with my finances, not having to worry so much about food money and just having more money for other things in my life, right? So, about a year ago, I took up bowling. I've been doing very well. When I started bowling, I was scoring 80, 90 points. I've been scoring in the 180s, an occasional 200 plus score. I've been, obviously, I talked about moving quite a bit. I've been, started dating again, and just have more money for that kind of stuff. And I'm planning my wedding in in December this year, my solo-sexual wedding, that is, and have more money to throw at that. And also, aside from just having more money for all that stuff, also having less worry about food disruption if my income were to drop a little bit, right? There's some wiggle room there. And it just goes to show, is it worth all the hassles and worries and just to stuff your face and then to worry about all the health concerns that it brings, right? Having future worry.